Welcome to Double Fries No Slaw. We're live. It is Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. I don't know, 5 o'clock like splits that right in the middle. So
Same
hopefully
thing.
you guys are having a good weekend or have had a good weekend. TJ Pinger, Richie Barnes. Let's get after it. Richie, how you doing?
Good, man. How about you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. We're doing this now, taking my kids to see some Christmas lights like on the other side of town, this drive-through thing that we've done the last couple of years. They think it's the greatest thing ever. It just really kills like 2 hours and they're, strapped into their car seats. So it's great. But how's your weekend been?
Pretty good, man. Sorry I missed ice, but that seemed
was
like a good
fun.
time.
That was a good
Uh,
time.
yeah, I bet it was a phenomenal time, and I'm just ready for the Cheez-It Bowl, man. I cannot wait for this Cheez-It Bowl. It's gonna be a blast.
I was saying this yesterday. And if you're in here, if you're watching this, do us a favor, try and get a good crowd in here tonight. Make sure you thumbs up the video as always. Get your comments off. You can utilize the super chat and make sure you're subscribed. We are double digits away from hitting 4K, which, back in June when we really started pushing YouTube, we were at like 500. So we've seen some pretty good growth, but I think we're 80-ish subs away from 4K. This video itself will get like 3,000 to 5,000 views.
Yeah.
So I need 80 of you guys to step up to the plate and hit the subscribe button. So, but yeah, we've had a good weekend. But you're right. In the last couple of years, we've been like hobbling to the finish line, and you've been like, man, I'm ready for Florida State football to be, let's get to basketball season. Well, it is a complete opposite now. Shout out to the basketball team for picking up an ACC win yesterday. But yeah, I miss it. I miss football. Like the World Cup, it's been nice. I see you with your USA shirt on. It's been nice. The World Cup has been on. I'm a big Messi guy, so Argentina making the semifinal is really cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's nothing like college football. And so, yeah, Friday at 11:30, there's a bowl game. The crappy bowls first. That's fine. UF plays on Saturday. Get to make fun of them when they lose to Oregon State. But yeah, I miss football. I'm ready for the Cheez-It Bowl. Man. I'm ready to get out there. We got a big tailgate going. Harlan, can you throw this link that I'm about to send you right now into the description if you guys would like to join us out at the Cheez-It Bowl? We're doing a huge tailgate. Should have a lot of fun. So come out and hang out with us out there. Double Fries No Slaw brought to you by Guthrie's in Tallahassee. You can visit both their locations, 1818 West Tennessee, 2550 North Monroe. Working on a way to get them out there to the tailgate. They've gone everywhere with us this year. We're out in New Orleans. They've been in Tallahassee when we were up there for the Clemson game and the Florida game. We're trying to get them back out for the bowl logistics into the year. That's not the easiest thing, but we'll see what we can do. And Richie, we'll jump into it here, but I also want to give a quick shout out to Gramco. I'm wearing on my shirt tonight, but thegramco.com. Oh no, I'm not. Wrong shirt. My bad. But thegramco.com. Best Delta 8 products on the market. They are one of the largest growers in the state of Florida. Complete truth when I tell you they are phenomenal people to work with. They give back a ton. One of the largest cannabis companies in Florida. So give them a try if you haven't already. You can use DFNS25 at thegramco.com. Or you can use TJ25. I know some of you guys watch the other, whichever. They both work the same. They both all go in the same pot. 25% off, whatever you can remember better. Links in the description. Thanks for joining us again. Thumbs up, share, like, comment. Let's try and answer some questions tonight. But let's get after it. Richie, I want to talk to you about this kind of big picture, and then we'll dive into some of the stuff that's going on this weekend. But Florida State with a bunch of recruits on campus this weekend, a bunch of transfers, and I don't necessarily know that Florida State wants this reputation, like wants to be known as Second Chance U, which is what I threw up there on the description and on the title. But like they've somewhat kind of turned into that, and they've done such a good job in the portal. What do you think it is that makes Florida State so successful there? I mean, there's a few things, right? Like, and we'll talk about some of them now. But what's the first thing that kind of pops out to in your head? Obviously, people think about Jermaine Johnson and Jared Verse, and I mean, honestly, Jordan Travis is a transfer, and he's been in the system for a couple of years. But what is it about Florida State that makes them so successful in the transfer portal?
I think it's one of those things where it's, Florida State clearly is the transfer destination for any transfer prospect, right? Like it truly is. Like we can joke about, oh, come here, come here, come here, but you know what I mean? It is the exact thing. Florida State is the destination for transfer prospects, and I think that's a fact. Like we've done it. We've seen it. Jermaine Johnson, Jermaine Thomas, Keir Thomas. Like it doesn't matter. That's where we are right now, and I think that's exactly where we are when it comes to this year. Like Florida State is the destination for the transfer portal.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and there's a couple of takeaways. I think one of the bigger things is that Mike Norvell does he and his staff are excellent at evaluating talent, and so they know when somebody is talented enough for them to want to go after them. And whether that be in-person evaluations, like everybody flipped out over the Trey Benson take, and oh man, he was injured over there, or he'll never do anything here. Like Mike saw him in person and said, like, no, I know how to evaluate talent. Like, Mike has certainly done more with less. Sorry, let's say it the right way. And so, first of all, they're really good at evaluating talent. They're also really good at being one of the first to reach out to people. Like some of the transfers that are on campus this weekend, Jaheim Bell, Kyle Morlock. Not Ruben Bain, who was on campus, but that's not who I was thinking of. The offensive lineman, help me out. Jeremiah Byers. A lot of the guys that are on campus, like they come immediately, like their first chance to get on campus and be around FSU, they take it. And they didn't, some of those guys are going to go off and take other visits. I'm actually going to put out a video tomorrow morning with Zach Blostein of Knowles 247, where we'll go deeper into some of how the recruiting weekend went. But I think the fact that they evaluate talent really, really well, they're on these guys early. They're on these guys, and most of them tell you, yeah, Florida State was the first school to reach out to me. When they lock in on guys that they know are going to be really good, Florida State is quick to act. They move fast, and that's paid off. Another thing they've done is Florida State has not had the success that they need to have to compete at a championship level based on past results in recruiting high school kids. But what they've done a phenomenal job of is they've done a good job of when guys are recruited and they're promised the world, because high school recruits are absolutely promised the world by every coach in the world. They've done a good job of being very transparent with guys who are looking to improve their situation. Maybe things didn't work out at their last school. Maybe there was a coaching change at their last school. Maybe they just want to be closer to home. Whatever that situation is, Mike Norvell and his staff have done a phenomenal job of being real with people and also getting talent in that doesn't necessarily need to be developed for 2 years at the college level. Maybe they've already been developed, right? Like, so you look at the Darrell Jackson kid who we put a video out this week. I don't know that Florida State would have taken him as a take in 2020. But with 2 years of college under his belt, like he's a massive take, and he'll be really, really good for FSU going forward. And so I think that they've done a good job of balancing that. I'll say this and I'll shut up and let Richie have it back. But there's this adage out there of you, and I still think that high school recruiting is the lifeblood of a program. Yeah. So don't get me wrong on this. But there's this saying out there, there's this phrase out there that says you can't build a champion through the portal. And I still think high school recruiting is more important because the portal is more hit or miss. But I think you can. I think that that's wrong. And people say that because we've never seen it. Because the transfer portal in today's day, like the way that we know the transfer portal now, like kids could always transfer, but the way that we know the transfer portal now is so new. And so, yeah, you haven't seen a team go out there and win a championship based solely on the portal. I'll remind you that even with going 5-7 last year, Florida State had a top 20 class, and they're going to have a top 15-ish class this year. So it's not like their recruiting classes have been in the 80s or anything, insane. But people say that. People say you can't win a championship through the portal. I don't know. I mean, you haven't yet, but that's not to say that's not to say that you can't. I'll tell you this. Florida State's like 2 or 3 pieces away from competing for the ACC and going 11-1 or 10-2. And if they go 11-1 next year and win the ACC, they're going to be competing for a championship. And they've primarily built it through the portal. as nice as this class is going to be this year, it's all kind of happened through the portal. So I don't know. I just don't know that I agree with that completely of, you can't build a champion through the portal. We'll see. But if Florida State lives up, they're going to be a top 10-ish team next year. If they're a top 10 team to start the year, they were 12 in 2013. That's competing for a title. So I don't know. Yeah, I think that there are a few things that Norvell and his staff have done really, really well. They're going to continue to excel in that. And like Richie pointed out, now at this point, they are a destination. Guys know, hey, it's like being an offensive lineman. Like, where do you want to go if you're an offensive lineman? Wisconsin, Penn State. Like, there are those places where you just know you're going to be developed. And so if you're a transfer and you've got something left in the tank and you've got something to give and you're not being utilized the right way, like Pittman and Wilson and Benson and whoever else you want to throw on that list that we've taken, the transfer portal and coming to Florida State has been absolutely electric. And so, yeah, I agree. We've never seen somebody build a champion through the portal, but I think that you can get pretty close. And I think that high school recruiting does need to take that step forward. I think 24 it will, but I'm not 100% sold that you can't get pretty close to building a champion through the portal. Richie, any other thoughts on the portal? I want to talk about some of the guys that were on campus and go through some of that, but just anything else you want to add to that? I know I kind of went on a tangent there.
No, I think you're spot on, TJ. Like the portal is absolutely a avenue that Florida State can use and needs to use, and I love that we are, because when you think about it, like 10 of our 15 players that ended up on all ACC teams are from the portal. Like, this is a big deal. Like, it's just what it is. That is today's college football. I cannot wait. Micah Pittman, Johnny Wilson, Fabian Lovett, like, you can go on and on and on. But man, I love what we are from the portal. We do definitely need to build this roster from the high school ranks, right? That's extremely important. But man, the portal's a big deal, and it's not going away at all.
Yeah, I think the other side of that too is, so I think with the portal, and the game is evolving, right? And so, yeah, we've never seen somebody do it, but man, I think you also have more security taking guys in the portal. Now, you have them for less time, right? But in theory, if somebody's an absolute hit, you have them for 3 years anyway, right?
Yeah.
And they don't really start to make an impact until halfway through that first year anyway, most of the time, right? Like, I don't expect Hakeem Williams to come in here and be an instant impact guy week one. Now, I'd love if he was, but even Dalvin Cook, right? Like, the greatest running back, not to offend anybody, but greatest running back in Florida State history, didn't really break out until like game 5 or 6 or 7 against Louisville, right? And then from there, it was kind of his show. But it was Carlos Williams a lot before that. And then Dalvin did break out. But it does take guys a little bit of time to get going. And so if a guy is coming to you from the portal, first of all, he's already been developed in a college system. Now, that college system may suck, and you may have to fix some things. But he doesn't have a high school body anymore. And then second, if you take somebody in the portal, they're almost guaranteed not leaving your program, right? Because nobody wants to sit out a year, right? So it's almost like an added layer of protection because nobody's leaving from the portal. I mean, I know it happens, right? We just picked up a guy who left from the portal, but he's going to get a waiver. I mean, that stuff is rare, right? Like, I think most of it now is if you come in from the portal, you're staying, right? Especially if you come in and you make an impact like you can. And so, I don't know. So some of the guys on campus this week mentioned a couple of tight ends. Jaheim Bell is one, transferring from South Carolina, could really, really make this offense pretty dynamic. We mentioned the other tight end, Kyle Morlock, 6'7", 250 from Blairsville, Georgia. He's the 14th best transfer product, according to 247 Sports. The other potential transfer guy is I had it just a second ago again. Jeremiah Byers. He is a 6'6" offensive tackle. He is the 6th highest rated transfer prospect, according to On3. I like where Florida State stands with all three of those. We'll go a little deeper into that with Zach Blostein tomorrow on Knowles from Knowles 247. But I think that Florida State's in a good position for all of them. I think, if I had to put my finger on it, I'd say that Morlock is probably the most likely, and then I'd have Byers. But I think they're in a really good spot for Bell too. So Florida State, because of what they've been able to do, you guys have some great comments, by the way. I want to go through some of these in just a minute, but because of what Florida State's been able to do the last couple of years in the portal, they've really set themselves up where people want to come, they want to get here, and they don't have, they have filled out this roster a lot more, and the 2 deep is pretty solidified, and so they don't have to take as many guys. They can be a lot more selective with the 6 to 8 pickups they're taking this year. A couple of good comments here. You'll never be able to have quality depth and be able to rotate if you don't bring in high school kids and develop them. Kids are hitting the portal and expecting to play. That's absolutely right. I think it's a two-edged sword, though, because if you're not developing them fast enough and they're not getting on the field fast enough, they'll transfer out, just like we just saw with Sam McCall, right? And so I think that it is a double-edged sword. You're going to see more and more and more kids transfer out of programs every single year. I think when it all comes down to it, you've got 85 scholarship guys. You take about 20 to 25 in a recruiting class, and I think you're going to have between 10 and 15 transfer out every year. They just aren't getting the playing time they want. And so you're going to have to fill your 20 to 25 in high school. And I think you're going to have to fill your anywhere from 8 to 15 in the portal. I just think that's where college football is going to be. And with the success that Mike Norvell and staff have had, it might be leaning toward that 20 side in high school and taking bigger portal classes, taking 12 to 15 guys. So I think that's been pretty impressive, what they've done. The new high school recruiting, the way they're I think high school recruiting can be more hit and miss than the portal. Certainly from because when you're taking a kid in high school, like, you've got to not only develop him mentally, you've got to develop him physically. And if they've already been in high school, if they've already been in college for 2 years, then you're getting a leg up on some of that. You don't have to develop them as much physically. It's just, are they a good fit for your system? And I will say, Mike Norvell, how many misses have there been in the portal?
Very few. Very few. Look at the Florida State has done a phenomenal job in the transfer portal, and a lot of it is just because of how well they've done hitting these sophomore juniors, these Johnny Wilsons, these Jarian Jones, all these guys. Man, it's phenomenal, and I love it. And I think we're going to do it again this year. And now we're getting to that area where we become like, all right, who do we take in the portal? Who do we not take? And who do we bring back? Because I think that's where we are. I cannot wait. I love it. I think Florida State is doing a phenomenal job, and Mike Norvell is doing a phenomenal job in the portal.
Yeah. So you look at last year's class, took Milton. Yeah. People could say that's a miss. I don't think that's a miss. I think that Norvell knew what he had and wanted to push Travis, but if you want to call that a miss, that's fine. Jarquez McClellan, somebody that didn't really materialize. Then you look at the rest of them: Jermaine Johnson, Jamie Robinson, Kier Thomas, DJ Williams. That one maybe hasn't materialized as much at this point. Dylan Gibbons transferred in here, and then last year's was absolutely elite as well. DJ Williams did end up transferring out. You brought in Dimitri Emanuel. Big Meech was great for you this year. Jason Turntine was great for you this year. You brought in, obviously, Trey Benson. You brought in Winston Wright. That one hasn't materialized yet, but I think it will. Tatum Bethune, that one was a hit. Deuce Spann, I think, will be a hit next year. That's kind of a TBD at this point. Greedy Vance was a hit. Johnny Wilson was a hit. And that's, I think, all we've got for this one. I don't think I'm missing anybody else. Oh, and Jared Verse. Yeah, Jared Verse and Micah Pittman. So you're Caden Lyles. I know he got hurt, but he really pushed Murray Smith. Bless Harris. He got hurt, but I think most of these are, there's a pretty good trend here of these are all hits. So, I think that they've done a great job. It's not even been 50-50 for them. It's truly been like 80% hits. So Only one portal commit so far. Yeah, that is Daryl Jackson from Miami.
Let's
We
go.
put out a video.
Love it.
Put out a video this week. He'll be there starting for the Noles next year. I know Fabian hasn't announced one way or the other just yet. I'm leaning toward Fabian probably leaving, but either way, he will certainly start. And his mom's going through some health problems. So if you're the praying kind or want to send good thoughts and vibes that way, maybe lift up his mom. I know that they're going through some stuff. Ruben Bain on campus. Another one is Cameron Robinson. Going to talk a lot more about both of those with Zach Blosty tomorrow. I still think Ruben Bain leans Miami's way. I think that Cameron Robinson, the linebacker currently committed to Virginia, is probably going to end up in FSU's class, but we'll see. Somebody asked about the kid from UCF that's on campus. Harlan, you want to help me out with? I don't remember. I don't have his names right in front of me. Damari Brown. Yeah, Damari Brown was there with his brother, Devontae Brown. I don't necessarily know if that's somebody asked if that's a package deal. I think that if they offer and want Devontae Brown and they press hard there, they will get him. I don't necessarily know that means that they will absolutely get Damari Brown. I still feel like that is, I don't know. I still feel like that's maybe a Miami Bama thing with Florida State like closing in. But yeah, I do think taking his brother would be a help. I don't think that. I think Florida State, if they want Devontae Brown, if they want the brother, if they want the older brother, they're going to take him and not base it on just like, oh, okay, well, we'll take him to get Damari. I don't think Florida State works that way at this point. So I like him for Devontae. I think Damari's, kind of a stretch. But, if they could close on either Bain or Brown, I think that'd be really, really good. We'll talk more about that with Zach tomorrow morning. Quick shout out to Garnet and Gold. If you're shopping this holiday season, garnetandgold.com. You can use code NOSLAW, NOSLAW, to save 15% on your order. There's no limit. So however much you want to spend, you can save 15%. Orders over $75 get free shipping. If you're there local in the Tallahassee area, you can do in-store pickup. You can't use the code at the register, but you can use in-store pickup so you don't have to have it shipped to you. They're in town. Garnetandgold.com, NOSLAW, NOSLAW. Richie, some guys returning. This is not an inclusive list, but some of the bigger names. Jordan Travis, who announced the day after we recorded last. Trey Benson, Lawrence Toafili, Robert Scott, Mo Smith, both big linebackers, Kalen and Tatum. Then some guys in the secondary. I think Dent is coming back. I don't think he did an official announcement, but I do think he was talking to some guys after practice and kind of let it out there. If I'm wrong on that, somebody can correct me, but I thought I was hearing that correct. Jerry and Jones, I don't know that there was a ton of surprise around that one. And a few other guys back as well. Still waiting on Fabian Lovett, Jamie Robinson, Jared Verse, and Trayshawn Ward to make official announcements. But the guys returning, JT Benson, Scott Smith, you really return your entire offense with the exception of maybe Dylan Gibbons and Dimitri Emmanuel, who are both out of eligibility. Thoughts on everybody coming back?
Yeah, first of all, shout out Battle Zone Collective, like amazing. Like Ingram Smith, shout out him. That is phenomenal. And man, all these guys coming back, this offense should be. This offense was elite this year, right? I think they're going to be beyond elite next year, and it's just a matter of time until getting these players back in the system, etc. Man, I'm so excited to see this offense next year. Defense, we'll see what happens, but I think they could be really good as well. But this offense could be elite. I'm talking top 3 in the country, elite, TJ.
I mean, you don't have to take that big of a step to do that. They were a top 10 offense this year.
Yeah.
Advanced analytics, I don't know if they have them as top 10. I'll kind of look that up while I'm rambling here. But as far as yards per play, that means one team in the country that was top 10 in yards per play, offensively and defensively. FPI had Florida State's offense at FPI wasn't very kind. 35. Yeah, I don't love that a ton. No, I'm sorry, that's defense. That's defense. I clicked on the wrong one. I was gonna say there's no way. Yeah, FPI has his top 10. So
there we go.
Your top 10 this year. You're really just not having to move up that far to get to get to that top 5-ish range that Richie's talking about. The top numbers 5. There was a pretty good drop off. Your top 5 offenses were like Ohio State, Tennessee, USC, Georgia, and Washington. And then your next bunch, Kansas, Michigan, Oregon, Alabama, and Florida State, were all separated by less than 2 points. So, it was pretty impressive to see where Florida State's offense was this year. And yeah, truly getting everybody back and possibly getting some pretty elite additions, Hakeem Williams and some other guys. It could be pretty impressive. And then Jordan Travis has never not had an offseason where he didn't improve tremendously. So you'd have to figure that he gets pretty good too, or gets elevates his game one more time for his final game. Yeah, shout out to Battles End. Ingram and those folks are doing a fantastic job. Can't wait to learn more about them. We did do, again, a quick video on that. But go check that out. I think that they've done a great job. You can go to The Battles End on Twitter and you can find that. Still waiting on, like I said, Fabian, J-Rob, and Verse. I think there's a chance you may get one of those 3 guys back. My gut would say Fabo because I just think Verse is going to be a little too high up, but that's no inside information. Like they may all 3 be gone, but no announcements yet. I think things are still being worked on behind the scenes. And then, yeah, we got some comments on Ward today. I think Ward would be welcome back. I think that I think he's trying to figure, from what I've heard, what I've talked to, I think he's trying to figure out what's best for him. Is that returning for another year? Is that, going somewhere and being the guy? Florida State hasn't, it's almost like an issue of, your running back room is almost too good, right? Like you got like 3 or 4 guys who could legitimately be number 1 several other places. And so I think it's for him, it's figuring that out. I think that's why you haven't seen an announcement yet. Focus on what you can control and see what happens there. I have no real concerns about Florida State's running back room at all in 2023. But I certainly love for Ward to be part of it. A couple more things and we'll get out of here. Again, if you're watching well up into the triple digits now, we are like less than 80 subscribers away from hitting that 4K number. So that'd be a lot of fun. If you're watching and you're unsubscribed right now, you don't have to like us. You can turn us notifications off. You don't have to watch anything. Just hit the subscribe button. Let's hit that 4K. Help us get there. Let's try and do it tonight. I mean, like I said, we got hundreds of people in here. Let's try and hit that ASAP. Make sure you're thumbs up and you're commenting with your questions or anything that you have there. Let's skip grading the position groups, Richie. We're running out of time. But let's talk a little bit about the 12-team playoff. If Florida State, if the 12-team playoff was happening this year, we'd be just on the outside of it. We'd actually be 2 spots on the outside of it, so that does make me feel a little bit better. We wouldn't be the first team left out because Tulane would get in by virtue of winning their conference. But we would be left out. We'd be really, really close. And then, if the team can take another step forward next year, whether that be 1 or 2 more wins, I don't know. But 10-2 or 11-1. I mean, 11-1 is going to get you in the playoff next year. But 10-2, yeah. 10-2 next year would probably get you in. 9-3 next year may get you in because you're going to start the season ranked a lot higher while you were unranked this year. So you're going to start the season ranked, and preseason rankings, though they are dumb, it would benefit you in that situation. So Florida State can kind of keep things, trending upward. They should be in that first 12-team playoff. I'm going to put my stamp on that right now. You finish, you get back to a point where you're finishing top 2 or 3 in the ACC. Even if you haven't caught Clemson by that time, you should absolutely be in that discussion. Yeah, college football playoff is still 4 teams. I'm just saying, like, if it was 12 next year, you'd probably be in it next year with the guys you're returning. But if you keep trending upward, I think Florida State should be a 2024 playoff team. I think they're going to compete for the ACC next year, and we'll certainly do a fair amount of breaking down all of that in the offseason. But general thoughts on college football playoff expansion.
Yeah, I love the expansion, right? It is so good for college football. And I think, a lot of people are upset, right? And I get it, because you have traditionalists that they're thinking, man, we don't need expansion, etc. Man, the college basketball tournament, the NCAA tournament used to be 32 teams. Now it's 64, and now it's 68. So I think it's great for all of sports. And I cannot wait, because Florida State absolutely would have a chance this year to get in. And how excited would us as Florida State fans be, the fact that we could potentially make it to the college football playoff this year? Obviously, it's not going to happen this year for Florida State, but it could happen next year and the year after. I'm so excited. It's just phenomenal. And a lot of fans can be excited, because we are going to be in the playoff in the very near future.
I think so. We might start lying about 2023 even, but 2024, I feel like if Florida State's not in the playoff in 2024, I think it's a pretty big disappointment. I think we all think we're going to have a pretty good year next year with the guys coming back. I think we may see the team take another step forward. I don't know if that'll materialize in more wins or not. But you'd think that Florida State should go at least 9-3 again next year. They're maybe a little bit of ahead of schedule this season. And so if you can stay there at 9-3 next year and then show improvement in 2024, what will that do for your recruiting in the 2024 class? And what will that do for you during that season? I'm excited for it. I also think that it will make more late season games matter. I talked about this just kind of big picture. I understand that, there's the thought process out there of it devalues the regular season. I think in some aspects it does. It does make that 3 versus 5 matchup of Alabama and Tennessee, or that 1 versus 3 of Tennessee and Georgia. I do think it devalues that just a tad, because you understand like the stakes aren't so high there. But stakes are still really high. If that would have still happened this year, the winner of that Tennessee-Georgia game would have gotten the inside path to the championship, to the SEC championship, and the East was much better than the West was this year. And so you knew that whoever went between Tennessee and Georgia was going to probably win the SEC. And by winning the SEC, you get a bye. You get a first-round bye. And so I do think that the stakes will still be very high for those games. What I think it will make fun is those late season ranked matchups between the team that is ranked 9th and 14th. And that game, second weekend of November, between a 9th ranked team and a 14th ranked team, both those teams know that neither one of them are getting in the playoff this year. They both know that there's no chance that they're getting in. But now, well, not now, but in 2024, that 9 versus 14 is basically a play-in game for the playoff, right? Like now you could go out and you could lose the next week or the next 2 weeks and eliminate yourself. But I don't know. I think it's going to make more of those matchups matter. The only one I can really think of like down the stretch like that we had with that was the Tulane UCF game. And that one's a little bit different just because it was for a conference champion. Like that would have been the case either way. But that was a ranked matchup down the stretch that nobody really cared about. I think if it's for a playoff spot, more people are tuned in. More people are watching it. It does make it more exciting. If Florida can get their things figured out, Florida State, if both teams are ranked in the top 15-ish, that's a playoff spot. Like that's a play-in game for the playoff spot. So you want to add more drama to Florida State? Let both those teams be ranked in the top 15 when they play each other. And the winner gets to go to the winner not only gets the bragging rights for the year, the winner not only gets to carry the Gator head around or talk smack to their friends, the winner goes to the playoff. Like imagine though, so I don't know. I think it's going to make things pretty big. I'm excited for it. Does it maybe make those 1 versus 3 matchups like do they not hurt as bad if you lose them? Maybe. But I think that it could really make things fun in November. And then I think the playoff itself is actually going to be pretty fun as well. So big shout out. I got a couple of shout outs, Richie. And then if you have any, we can get out of here. Big shout out to the women's basketball team starting 10-1. Pretty impressive what they've been able to do. Men's basketball team got a big win yesterday against Louisville for their second of the season, but 1-1 in conference play. So let's keep trending up if we can. Soccer and volleyball finished their seasons. Tough loss for soccer in the semifinal, and volleyball lost in the tournament as well. But football, there's one sport left for fall sports, and it's football. And, we'll play on December 29th and hopefully beat Oklahoma to get to 10 wins. But those are the only shout outs I have. Again, shout out Gramco, Guthrie's, and Garnet and Gold. Links are in the description if you need any of that stuff. And come hang out with us at the tailgate. Link to the tailgate is in the description. It is the Eventbrite link. In fact, I can tell it to you. It's really, really easy. It's cheeseitbowltailgate.eventbrite.com. cheeseitbowltailgate.eventbrite.com. Rich, you got any shout outs before we get out of here?
Yeah, man, none for me. I'm excited for the tailgate. I'm excited for the game. I'm excited that Florida State, Louisville is trash, man. Louisville is so bad, but you know what? We had to win that game when we did. So I will gladly take it.
Good stuff. Well, again, triple digits in here tonight. Appreciate everybody that was in here and hung out for the live broadcast. Of course, always appreciate the replay watchers as well. Do us a favor, hit the subscribe button. Again, we are inching closer to 4,000. That'll be a fun number to hit. And then the path to 5 starts after that. So make sure you thumbs up, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. We appreciate it. We will be back with more content tomorrow morning. Again, I'm going to do a video with Zach Blostein of Knowles 247 breaking down how recruiting went this weekend for Florida State. Until next time, appreciate you guys. Go Knowles.